Welcome to the Bro Code Podcast. Join Kennedy Lucas, Terry Lester, and Jackson Smith as they break down the biggest plays, share locker room banter, and keep it 100 on sports hot takes. Gear up, because this is where the real talk begins. Gear up!
What's good, my people? You are now tuned into the one and only Bro Code Podcast. It's your boy, your host, your cousin that always keeps it a buck, Terry Lester. And today is July 14th, 2025, and let me tell you, we're about to get into some real talk. This ain't no watered-down convo. We're talking life, loyalty, leveling up, and all the real ones already know. We live by the code, that Bro Code, unwritten, unshakable, and unbreakable.
From barbershop banter to relationship realness, from the streets to the boardroom, we cover it all right here. No fake vibes, no corny filters, just grown man gems, laughs, and sometimes a little tough love when needed. So whether you're in the whip, at the crib, or on the grind, turn us up and vibe with us. And if you ain't ready for truth, you might want to exit stage left. 'Cause on this mic, we keep it solid. Let's go, let's grow, and let's get this show started. It's the Bro Code Podcast, baby, where the real ones talk and the world listens.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Bro Code Podcast, presented, of course, by iHeartMedia. Again, like Terry and Jackson said in the intro, welcome back to the highly, and I do mean this, highly anticipated podcast show here today. I want to say thank y'all again. I say this a lot, I know, I say this a lot, Jackson and T, but just to say thank you to everybody who's been watching the show thus far. You guys have been doing really amazing when it comes down to watching all of our content, really, with K.L.P. Entertainment. But you guys have been watching the shows and everything we got going on so far. So I just always got to say thank you. It's greatly appreciated for everybody who tune into our show. This is one of those shows that, you know, we're always innovating. We're always changing some things up for the better, right? We always try to have as many voices on this show as we possibly can for Bro Code Podcast. I think it just kind of helps soothen the show a little bit, and I'm forever grateful and thankful for that. So very excited for this one. I've got some great things I got to talk about, but of course I'll let Jackson and T get into the show, and then we have another voice here too as well. It's going to be very exciting for Bro Code Podcast. So again, take it away, T.
With 2025 NFL training camps on the horizon, the league's true insiders made their voices heard. ESPN surveyed league executives, coaches, and scouts to help us rank the top 10 players at 11 different positions, from quarterback to cornerback and all positions in between. This was the 6th edition of these rankings. And as usual, several players moved up or fell off last year's lists. A reminder of the rankings process. Voters gave us their best 10 players at a position. Then we compiled the results and ranked candidates based on number top 10 votes, composite average in dozens of interviews, with research and film study help from ESPN NFL analyst Matt Bowen. In total, more than 70 voters submitted a ballot on at least one position, and in many cases, all positions. Additional voting and follow-up calls with those surveyed helped us break any ties. Each section includes quotes and nuggets from the voters on every ranked player, even the honorable mentions. The objective was to identify the best players for 2025. This was not a 5-year projection or career achievement award. Who are the best players today? We will roll out a position per day over 11 days. The schedule: running backs July 7th, defensive tackles July 8th, edge rushers July 9th, safety July 10th, tight ends July 11th, interior offensive linemen July 12th, offensive tackles July 13th, quarterbacks July 14th, off-ball linebackers July 15th, wide receivers July 16th, cornerbacks July 17th. Several themes emerged from this year's quarterback polling, none more important than this. Tier 1 is historically good. The top 4 quarterbacks left the rest of the field in the dust during this year's top 10 voting. All 4 are squarely in their primes, between 28 and 29 years old. They have 5 MVPs among them. And although 3 of these quarterbacks are still chasing Patrick Mahomes' Super Bowl achievements, they appear to be closing the gap by the year. This is a golden era for young quarterbacks that should be appreciated. What else should you know about this class? The group is more exclusive this time around. In most years, at least 16 quarterbacks attract significant votes. No longer. Just 12 players had traction this time around. The top 10 plus 2 honorable mentions. That means that 4 quarterbacks on contracts of $50 million or more are not under serious consideration for the top 10. 4 of those 12 are from the 2020 draft class, which is turning out to be one of the very best of the 2000s. Since our rankings began in 2020, this is the first year without Aaron Rodgers in the top 10. Youth prevails. Matthew Stafford is the only top 10 passer above the age of 30. The list features 3 new entrants, including one possible surprise, though not a people in the league. The league is not concerned with the possibility of a Jaden Daniels dip in production at all. Here's how league personnel really feel about your favorite passers. Mahomes' grip on the top spot is loosening slightly. After dominating the voting with back-to-back no.1 rankings in convincing fashion, Mahomes garnered around 60% of the first-place votes this year, which is still impressive but well short of last year, when he received all but 1 first-place vote. He has finished 8th in QBR the past 2 years. From 2018 through 2022, he finished 1st or 2nd 4 times. Rarely does Mahomes look as frazzled as he did versus Philadelphia in Super Bowl 54. But context is key with these discussions, and Mahomes' modest by his standard performance in 2024, 3,928 yards, 26 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, requires a lot of it. OL in decline, particularly at tackle. WR group completely cleaned out by injury. Travis. K.L.P not near the same player, a veteran NFL coordinator said about Mahomes' supporting cast. I thought he had more command of time/score/situation and better fundamentals from within the pocket than ever. He's a one-man army, and no NFL coach wants to deal with him. Complete dog. No one like him. Maybe Joe Burrow, but Burrow isn't as dangerous as a player. Mahomes still leads the NFL in virtually every passing category, from passing yards to touchdowns and yards per attempt, since becoming the starter in 2018. No quarterback was more efficient on 3rd down than Mahomes last season. He led the NFL in 3rd down QBR 90.4, with a league-high 53.1% of his passing attempts resulting in first downs. An AFC scout noted that Mahomes probably doesn't have that same fear factor from opponents that he had a few years ago, but also expects him to bounce back in 2025 with a healthier receiving core and a rebuilt offensive line. Mahomes is squarely in his prime, but he must contend with 3 elite quarterbacks also in their late 20s arc who are gaining on him. Other guys played great, an NFC executive said, explaining why he voted Mahomes 4th. He took a little step back based off the last few seasons. I don't expect it to last. Allen standing in our top 10 series has been a journey and a point of contention in Buffalo. Since the series started in 2020 until 2023, Allen's place in the quarterback pantheon was universally celebrated among voters inside the league and highlighted in this piece annually. He became, unquestionably, a top-shelf quarterback in the league. By the end of the 2023 season, turnovers had started to mount. Allen had thrown 47 interceptions and had fumbled 18 times, 7 lost, over a 3-year span. That led an NFC executive to criticize Allen as overrated, to which Buffalo general manager Brandon Beane took exception. Allen's performance in 2024, however, erased any doubt, with his play applying pressure on Mahomes for the top spot. With nearly 4,300 total yards, 40 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions in 2024, Allen showed what his very best garners: an MVP award and 13 regular season wins despite the lack of a true one receiver in his prime. He's done everything, an NFC personnel executive said. He's answered every test. He makes less mistakes and takes care of the ball. Only thing left to do is win it all. Allen epitomizes the modern quarterback, with mobility that can thwart just about any defense, which makes him dangerous in the pocket, but even more so out of it. Pressure did not affect Allen last season, when he led the NFL in QBR 85.3, and yards per dropback, 6.5, under pressure. His 13 passing touchdowns under duress tied the NFL lead. Allen also had the lowest sack rate in the entire NFL on all dropbacks, 2.6%. Despite his willingness to stay in the pocket, to let plays develop, or to buy time and scramble. Conversely, Allen's 18.1% off-target rate was the worst clip among the 18 quarterbacks who received at least one vote in this year's top 10. He's still got that risk-taking to his game and the occasional head-scratching play, but he's taken more calculated risks than wild risks, which is helping his overall play. An NFL personnel evaluator said, "Prolific is the best way to describe Burrow's 2024 campaign, leading the NFL with 4,918 yards and 43 touchdowns, on his way to a second Comeback Player of the Year award. Burrow makes a compelling case as the game's most accurate quarterback. His 70.6% completion rate against the backdrop of a league-high 652 attempts in 2024 is impressive. His 11% off-target rate is also the lowest among starting quarterbacks. If we're talking about playing the quarterback position, nobody is playing it better than him," a veteran AFC scout said. "Footwork, ball placement, the mental game at the line of scrimmage, feel for the pocket, eye level, finding creases to step up and throw. He's the best right now, and he's more mobile than he gets credit for." Last season, Burrow became the first player in NFL history with 250 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns in 8 straight games. And similar to Mahomes, he had much to overcome last year. "I get the guy has 2 elite wideouts, but their run game was average and the offensive line was not very good either," an AFC executive said. On top of all that, their defense was porous, and he kept them in every single game for the most part. "I thought it may have been his best year, but it didn't get the same pub because of the other high-profile teams." Jackson is the most breathtaking player in the game. He might be the most feared, too, depending on whom you ask. And he was close to winning a 3rd MVP last season, in fact beating out the actual MVP Allen for first-team All-Pro status in an unusual split of those honors. Winning a 3rd award would put Jackson on a short list so accomplished that first names aren't necessary. Manning, Rodgers, Brady, Favre, Brown, Unitas. What Jackson did last year still puts him in his own class. He became the first player in NFL history with 40 passing touchdowns and 4 or fewer interceptions in a season. A 10-to-1 touchdown-to-interception ratio, 10.3. Winning percentage is insane, 74.4%. And he's a leading rusher on any team he's on, a veteran NFL coach said. "He's one of a kind." Jackson also led the NFL in total QBR, 77.3, and yards per dropback, 8.3, and set new career highs in passing touchdowns, 41, passing yards, 4,172, yards per attempt, 8.8, and touchdown-to-interception ratio. His total EPA was 160.6, more than 16 points higher than any other quarterback. Best space runner in the NFL, and he's such a good passer now, an NFL defensive coordinator said. He probably doesn't get enough credit for how he's improved there. Years ago, some evaluators knocked Jackson's skills as a pocket passer, but he has busted through that narrative since the Ravens committed to a stronger passing game by hiring offensive coordinator Todd Monken and adding playmakers via free agency and the draft. Jackson has ranked in the top 5 in QBR in each of the past 2 seasons and has combined for 7,850 passing yards during that span. "I think he had to grow up as a passer," a veteran NFL personnel man said. "He was always more athletic than everyone else. So why not run?" But he had to stay in the pocket a little bit more to prolong his career, and he's doing that increasingly well. Daniel's phenomenal rookie season demanded an appearance somewhere in the top 10. That he pushed his way into the top 5, narrowly outdistancing Stafford in the voting, shows voters have no problem validating his hype. Last season, Daniels posted the 4th highest QBR in the NFL, 70.6, the best mark for a rookie since Dak Prescott in 2016. But he was even better on 3rd and 4th downs, recording a league-leading 95.3 QBR on those downs. Single-handedly took one of the worst franchises to the NFC title game as a rookie with a bad defense, one legitimate wide receiver, a dinosaur tight end, 12th-year pro Zach Ertz, and average at best OL. said an NFL coordinator who prepared for Daniels last season. The kid can read coverages, throw with accuracy and touch to all levels of the field, just as dangerous as Lamar and Josh Allen with his legs, and has a clutch factor to him because his team already believes that if he has the ball with a chance to win, he's going to find a way. If he repeats anything close to his rookie year, he's no lower than no. 3 on this list next year. Daniels was a true dual threat in his rookie year, ranking second in the NFL in yards per rush 6.0 and first in scramble yards 570. Sometimes the year one hype can be tough to replicate. CJ Stroud landed at no. 7 last season and struggled at times in year 2. Though he has shown enough to convince Houston, he's clearly the long-term answer. Some around the league are at least asking the question of whether Daniels' play will taper off a bit as defenses adjust to both him and Washington's offense. But the consensus is Daniels has too much going for him. Won 12 games with a mediocre at best defense and just a decent offensive roster around him, an NFC coordinator said. System he plays and requires him to play off schedule and make plays with his feet on a regular basis for success. And he is still solid in the pocket. There's a reason Stafford garnered significant trade interest when the Rams entertained moving him this offseason. Only a few quarterbacks command a position like he does. Players come and go in Los Angeles, but Stafford makes it all work, a truly scheme-transcending quarterback. Why does he remain so high in the rankings each year? 'Cause he's tough as S, an NFL coordinator said. Elite poise and toughness in the pocket. The ability to throw with timing and location while he's about to get hit in the chin is among the best. Stafford seems to manage injuries every year, but plays through them while winning games. The Rams last year became the first team in NFL history to make consecutive playoff appearances after having been 3 games under .500 earlier in those seasons, 1-4 in 2024 and 3-6 in 2023. Stafford is great in 2 areas. After a break, he produced 39 touchdowns to 9 interceptions over the balance of the 2023 and 2024 seasons in games that followed the bye week, including playoffs. And on play action, producing the 3rd highest QBR in the NFL off it in 2024, 81.5. His 10 touchdowns to 0 interceptions off play action marked the best performance since Aaron Rodgers in 2021. Conversely, 17.6% of his throws were considered off target, the second worst such clip among the quarterbacks who received at least 1 vote. A big factor for quarterbacks is what they can do on 3rd and 10. Matt scares you more than almost anybody in that situation, the coordinator said, and he can make plays off schedule. Herbert's immense talent keeps him in the top 7, but hasn't vaulted him into the first tier of quarterbacks despite elite production. His 21,093 career passing yards are the most in NFL history through 5 seasons. Last season, he was asked to sacrifice yardage as part of offensive coordinator Greg Roman's run-heavy attack, with his attempts per game dipping from 35.0 to 29.6 year-over-year. Sticking to ball control plan, Herbert's 3 interceptions on 504 attempts marked the lowest interception rate, 0.6%, by any qualified quarterback since Tom Brady in 2016. Many evaluators agree. If starting the league from scratch and drafting quarterbacks, Herbert is still getting picked very high. He's always been a top 5 to -8 QB, accurate to all levels, athletic, sound decision maker, an AFC executive said. It's almost like he's underrated now, in my opinion. He's taken for granted. And it's not as though he can't thrive late in games. His 15 game-winning drives are the most from any quarterback drafted in 2020 or later. Still, some evaluators believe something appears to be holding him back, and his 0-2 playoff record doesn't help. The players above him in the top 10 consistently create more off-schedule plays, are more dangerous in the 2-minute drill, and have won in the playoffs, a veteran NFC personnel evaluator said. The offense he currently plays in is by far the least QB-friendly in terms of the passing game, which doesn't help him. Justin can get there. He has the ability, so it should come in time. 3 years ago, heck, even 2, placing Goff in the top 10 was a bold move. Now, it's rare to find a ballot without his name on it. Goff appeared on 82% of the top 10 submissions. He's developed into one of the game's best pure passers, a veteran NFC defensive coach said. He doesn't turn the ball over like he used to. He's a reliable quarterback with a real arm. He's not just a drop-back passer who makes S happen. He's become more than that. Goff ranked second in the NFL in yards per attempt last season, 8.6, and threw for the second most yards in the league, for 1,629. He was especially good on play action, completing 75.4% of his play action passes for 1,978 yards and 15 touchdowns, leading the NFL in both categories. Coming from an air raid offense at Cal, Goff entered the league as a rhythm and timing thrower. He struggled when pass rushers disrupted that timing. He has countered that weakness and elevated his game. He's improved in his ability to reset his feet and deliver the ball accurately, and it's changed his career, a veteran AFC scout said. The coaching staff in Detroit gave him a greater sense of calm in the pocket, and he's capitalized on it. Goff's success has come with two of the game's best play callers, Sean McVay and now Bears head coach Ben Johnson. Now, he must prove he can do it without them, and his career adaptability suggests he'll be up to the challenge. Hurts' status is cemented. He's a Super Bowl winner who plays big in big moments. He's the most potent short yardage quarterback rusher in NFL history. His streak of 4 consecutive seasons with 10 or more rushing touchdowns is the league's longest ever for a passer. He's also one of the game's most accurate passers, ranking first in completion percentage over expected, plus 6.6. And he throws a beautiful deep ball. That touchdown pass to Devonta Smith in Super Bowl 59 was a Superdome-sized work of art. He had a better year running the ball, and the way he played down the stretch when healthy was impressive, said an AFC executive who voted Hurts in the top 5. Better throwing the ball in general this year and cut out the turnovers. When asked to be a high-volume thrower in 2023, 538 attempts, Hurts struggled taking care of the ball, resulting in 15 interceptions. To his credit, he cut that number down to 5 in 2024, though on far fewer attempts, 361. The question isn't whether Hurts belongs in the top 10. He undoubtedly does. It's whether he has the ability from the pocket to vault into the top 5 eventually, as his Super Bowl pedigree would suggest he could. More than a few voters see shades of a Russell Wilson career arc. Hurts has many traits that contribute to winning at a high level, but needs a steady running game around him and wouldn't necessarily thrive in a pass-heavy system. Baker Mayfield walked so Sam Darnold could run. The former no. One pick is emblematic of the NFL's capacity for career resurgences at the game's most important position, setting the blueprint for near bust to one day reach $100 million. When Mayfield signed a modest one-year deal with Tampa in 2023 and led the Bucs to the playoffs, it was a nice storyline about a former no, one pick regaining his footing. When he did it twice and his performance improved, that's proof of concept. Only Allen and Jackson have more touchdowns over the past 2 seasons than Mayfield's 73. Fearless as a thrower and a runner, an NFL personnel evaluator said. He's got on-field leadership, where teammates want to support him. Much better arm than given credit for. Good mover in the pocket and can rush for yards. Attacks the third level of the defense. When he's got time in the pocket, he's as good as almost anybody right now. Last season, Mayfield joined Brady as the only quarterbacks in Buccaneers history with 40 passing touchdowns in a season. Mayfield dominated against the blitz, leading all quarterbacks in completion percentage, 72.3%, and passing touchdowns, 18, against 5 or more pass rushers. He honestly reminds me of Favre a little bit as far as style of play, the personnel man said. He's got a moxie to him, like, F you, I'm on the attack. And defensive guys feel that presence.
Yeah, that's true. So up next on the Bro Code podcast on a wonderful Monday night, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about this type of sport. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we've had a very, very good time last night at State Farm Arena for WWE's Evolution. Let me tell you, that was a card to have. If you guys know, you know, WWE alongside with Beyonce was in town down the street at State Farm Arena. Of course, I said this on K.L.P. Aftermath. I'm saying it here again on Bro Code. I couldn't score the tickets for the for Saturday night's main event simply because those tickets was high, but I did score some good seats, by the way, and some good pricing for WWE's Evolution at State Farm Arena last night. Let me tell you, it was a time to be had. It was one of those things that I just genuinely enjoy going to. It's one of those things that I genuinely enjoy going to those type of events simply because it was just really cool to see, you know, the ring, the stage, the rigging, the cameras, the commentators, the whole production scale of it was really amazing. Let me tell you, there was a lot of influential people there. There were a lot of broadcasters. There were a lot of podcasters. There were just a lot of social media people at this thing, along with celebrities. Now, let me break it down, if I may. Let me break it down the whole night last night. So I ended up going with my little brother. My little brother and I, along with my big brother and my sisters, the whole fam, we're all wrestling fans, right? Obviously. And when it comes down to it, we like to go to wrestling cards and wrestling events at State Farm. Now, me and my two brothers, and even my dad, you know, my dad, shout out to him, he took us to, like, when we were from Macon, because originally, I like to say I'm from Atlanta, but originally I'm from Macon. And when WWE would come to Macon and at the what was called the Macon Coliseum, I think it's still there, we would go to the wrestling cards. It was what was called a house show. We would go to the house show all the time, right? While watching it on TV. And my dad took us to WrestleMania 27 when it was, shout out to the Georgia Dome. If you know, you know, the Georgia Dome. We went to WrestleMania 27. And my dad, you know, us being young kids, right? Family of 5 kids, right? We had okay seats. We couldn't really see that much, right? We could barely see, but we were in the building. We saw it. It was cool, right? So as we got a little bit older and as we become more influential and doing talk shows and movies and doing our business, you know, money kind of comes in, we vow to ourselves that as we go forward, we're going to get better and better seats, right? So up until now, we've been, you know, my little brother, they're right about this. When it comes down to a wrestling event, you want to make sure you can score some good seats, right? You want to be right there in front row on the floor, or if you're not on the floor, make sure you're like on the top front part of the incline seats, because being able to see is very important when you go to any wrestling card, right? Any wrestling event, you want to make sure that you're able to be able to articulate and see what's going on, because it's a lot, right? I do say to a lot of people, if you do plan on going to WWE events, whether it's Raw, SmackDown, or PLE, you know, you want to make sure that you have the energy, be hydrated, because it's a lot. It's a whole lot of things that's going on when it comes down to going to a card or a wrestling PLE event, right? So you got to make sure that you have the energy, because it will wear you out if you're not hydrated enough, because you will be screaming, you will be doing that. And I tell you guys, I no lie, I'm toughing it through the Bro Code podcast, but my throat is really sore because I was screaming last night, right? So we ended up scoring some good seats. That's the point of where I was going to it. And I was going to the point where, you know, when I think when we went to Raw in 2019, we scored the incline seats. And then a few years later, obviously 2020 and 2021, I want to say 2023, we went to SmackDown, which was very good. It was me, my little brother, and my big brother. We scored close to front row seats. We had some good seats at SmackDown. And then 2024, Bad Blood was in Atlanta. Obviously, we were in the building. We had an incline seat, but we had some good seats. But Bad Blood was in Atlanta. Very dope pay-per-view. And then last January, I want to say it was last January, this past January, rather, Raw came to State Farm, and that one was fun because we could see really well, and it was me, my little brother, my big brother, my 2 sisters, and my sister's husband, my brother-in-law. So it was a whole whole treat. It was a whole thing there when it comes down to it. Let me tell you, it runs in the family, right? Brother-in-law likes WWE. My brothers and sisters love WWE. My dad loves WWE, right? Jackson, it's all in the family, right? You cannot say that we're not going to be at the card. If they're in State Farm Arena, we're going to find ways to get to that event, right? So I didn't go to Saturday night's main event, obviously, because I just didn't think that the card was big enough for the money. Honestly, I think a lot of people who buy WWE tickets, I'm not shit talking on WWE because I love WWE, but those tickets are kind of high. They're very, very high. It's the same thing where I bumped into somebody and they said, hey, I chose to go to wrestling instead of Beyonce because Beyonce, that's a whole bill. That's a whole rent that you're paying, right? It's expensive nowadays to go to these events. So when it comes down to it, we were able to score some good seats for Evolution. I didn't go to Saturday night's main event because, again, I just don't think the card was big enough for me for the money. It was just that whole Seth Rollins and LA Knight match where Seth Rollins legitimately hurt his knee for the fourth time, it looked like, and it was like a quick exit, right? LA Knight was told, hey, you got to end this match quick because he is seriously hurt. BFT, bam, so quick. So weird, quick how that happens. It happens when somebody's legitimately injured. We all thought it was a work. I don't think it was a work. I think Seth Rollins was legitimately hurt, right? He really tweaked his knee. If you guys know, again, this is the wrestling bag. If you guys know, Seth Rollins has really, really bad knees. Really, 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 really bad knees nowadays, right? So it hurts. He's hurting. Every time he's performing and he's on TV and he's doing his segment and he's cutting his promos, he's hurting. He's legitimately hurt. So wasn't a fan of okay. So I watched the Gunther and Goldberg match. I can't wait to see what Bully Ray and them say on Busted Open podcast. I can't wait to see that. But I just don't think, I didn't think it was a big draw, honestly, right? I don't think it was a good match. It was a quick match. Goldberg lost in his hometown, right? I would have thought that WWE would have gave him a WWE Championship run for a minute, right? Maybe not for too long, but like give him a nice little run to send him off. I think it just kind of felt flat. And they cut Goldberg's off mid-speech on Peacock, right? So if you're on Twitter, then you know Twitter has the full recap of the full Goldberg speech. But nonetheless, I watched Saturday night's main event, and I was more excited for WWE Evolution. Let me tell y'all, and I posted this on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I got to say just one word to audience and T and Jackson. WWE Wrestling, WWE Women's Wrestling, Women's Wrestling is the chant of last night. I gotta say, Evolution's card was really, really good. Sorry. It was a good draw. It was worth the money. Honestly, I'll tell you how I paid $150 for my ticket. I was comfortable paying the $150 ticket. Some people paid thousands for that ticket up in the front. There was a great group of friends that looked like there were like 8 of them. Obviously, they were for Nikki Bella when she was making her return to the in-ring competition. And very, very, you'll see it on if you watch the review, they were in the front row, and there was one person that had Bella Army signage there, and Nikki Bella gave them a hug. It was very, very dope to see. Money's worth, right? That your money's worth, and you're on camera, you're on TV. So, like I say, the card was amazing. I tell you, let me give you the whole scope of the whole event. Then I'll go into the notes about what happened on each match, right? Like I normally do on Bro Code Podcast. But I'm pulling up. We booked a certain. It's called the Diamond Deck at State Farm. If you know, you know. That is kind of like. It's like almost like exclusive parking. If you got the budget, you can pay a little bit more when you do your pre-sale or do your pre-ticket purchase. We ended up parking at the Diamond Deck, which was very good because when you walk through, if you park, you gotta have the money for it. You're gonna pay for the Diamond Deck, right? You're gonna park up in there. It was really cool because me and we got geeked because when we were driving through the Diamond Deck, it said WWE staff signage, so I could tell that there was a lot of superstars that were parked in that area. So we were just like, "Oh, are we supposed to go this way?" Because it says WWE staff pointing left, and and we're going left. We're like, I don't think we're supposed to be on this side of the arena. I think this is where everybody, all the superstars are. But we didn't catch a superstar in that area, unfortunately. But we ended up parking at the Diamond Deck. And it was very, very dope because, the gate was right there. The security gate was right there. It was really, really cool. They checked us. We're in the building. We're scanning our tickets. And right there, you're at the what was called the Delta Sky Club. Delta has a partnership with State Farm. If you're a Delta Sky member, then you could get some amenities there. Restaurant was there. And then through the doors there was the arena. So we ended up getting our snacks, getting ready. And obviously, I sat a different seat than my little brother because they purchased a more. I won't give their number out because I don't know their. But they paid a little bit more than my 150. So we had separate seats, but they had a seat where they could take the decorative chairs home, which was really dope. I helped them in their car with their decorative chair. It was really dope that they were able to take that home with them. But I had to go around the ring and around the arena. It's on the opposite end because we were on opposite ends. That's where I was seated. And let me tell you, I'm walking and I'm walking. And then I look to my right. And then I saw the pre-show, right? It was Jackie Redmond, Big E, and Michael Cole, and Wade Barrett. They were on the pre-show, and I got nervous simply because they were like, they had to been no more than 5 feet away from me, right, as I was walking to my seat. And I got nervous because they had the production crew around the table. Obviously, they're working the pre-show, and they had security. So I was like, oh, can I go this way? I don't know if this is blocked off. But I was able to go around, of course, around behind the cameras because my seat was there. So I was, just to hear Michael Cole and Wade Barrett live is so different, y'all. It's so different. It's like to hear them live and up close and in person. It's really cool. I was really more of that fan where I didn't want to. Obviously, I'm a fan of WWE, obviously, but I try not to get all up in the celebrities' faces and act weird. I don't like to do that. I was just watching the pre-show. I was just looking for a split second to get to my seat. Big E locked eyes because Big E was on the panel. He looked directly at me and I got nervous. I'm like, oh, I'm just watching, I'm sorry. But it's really cool. Again, these are celebrities, they're superstars, but then you really understand that they're just human beings just like me and you, right? So it's really, really cool to hear them just live and in person. Obviously, they were talking into their headsets and they're on camera, they're performing, but obviously you can hear what they're saying too. And it's really, really cool. I really love that experience when it comes down to it. And I went to my seat. We were getting ready. Show's about to start. I sat next to these 2 lovely ladies to my right. There was another lady that was a girl that was in front of me, Jackson, that obviously she was a Rhea Ripley fan, so it was really, really cool to see that. I saw next to 2 gentlemen to my left, and it was, we all had a ball. I didn't know none of them. We like when you don't talk to strangers is what I say, but like, the guy to my left was asking me who I got in this match, and then we had a nice little chat. But it was like, we're not best friends. I don't know you, but it was. I mean, I ain't gonna worry. If you ask me who I got in this match, I'm gonna tell you, right? And then the 2 ladies to my right, just cliff notes, 2 ladies to my right, they had to go to the bathroom and they purchased something from the WWE store. And they said, hey, can you watch our bags? I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, you trust me with your bags? Obviously, I wasn't going to make off with their bag. I wasn't going to do that. But I just kind of brought it close to me so I can hide it and then gave it right back to them when they came from the bathroom. Again, that's just doing a good deed. You got to be careful who you trust, people with your stuff. But honestly, look, if I wanted some merchandise, I would just go and buy some merchandise. I just didn't because, and let me tell you, last night I was contemplating. I was contemplating going to the store they had at State Farm to buy me a championship belt. I just don't think I was going to drop some money like that because those belts are hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I just, I'm very frugal with my money. Everybody knows it. So, getting into the actual event, fireworks, Stephanie McMahon comes out. Obviously, I knew she was going to be there simply because it is Evolution. She is kind of the queendom of WWE, if you will. And I'm going to talk about it, and I'm also going to have some footage rolling right now for the people to see as well. My footage, my phone footage. I do say you can record there. Don't record the whole thing with WWE. It's a big no-no, really. But you want to. Everybody had their phones out and recording. I would say to a lot of people, if you do go to an event, don't record the whole event because you kind of ruin the experience for yourself. You're so busy running your camera on your phone, you're not really living into the moment. You're not seeing these people with your actual retina eyes because you're so busy glued to your phone trying to capture everything. I captured the most I could within this footage, but then, like I said, I wanted to enjoy myself too. So here are the matches here. The first match up was Lara Valkyria, Bailey, and Becky Lynch. Obviously, and I'm gonna preface this first. Every match was spectacular. We didn't have a rough match or a C minus match. In my opinion. But Lara Valkyria, Bailey, and Becky Lynch, they're doing their thing into this match again. Again, seeing these people live is quite amazing. It's taboo, really, but it's really cool to see everybody live when it comes down to it. Of course, I was rooting for Lara Valkyria to come up on top because I am a Lara Valkyria fan. I don't really like this whole heel angle that Becky Lynch is doing because she's when she does a promo, it sounds very raspy to me and it's kind of annoying. Bailey, everybody at State Farm was rooting for Bailey. I get it. I understand it. I want to go for more of Lara because she is the newbie in this game and she's very talented. I got very upset with Lara though because like when she would be beat down, it felt like she was just there, but then it was mostly Bailey and Becky Lynch's match and Lara's just there like a bug on the wall. Not saying that she is a bug, but it's just like I wish I would have saw her perform a little bit more. But she gets knocked down so many times within this match as a triple threat match. So, of course, Becky Lynch did come up on top when it comes down to it. I think all the winners are all three of the ladies because they did give us a great start out show. It is hard to be, the first match of the night and you want to start this thing off with a bang. I'm sure Triple H probably told them that, hey, you're the first match of the night, so I need you to be, we need y'all to rock the house because you guys are the opener. I think with any first match opens the entirety of the show. And if you have a weak match, then for us as audience and us as fans think, okay, this pay-per-view may not be as good because we had a weak first match. But we did not see that at State Farm live and in person last night. Of course, you had JC Jane versus Jordan Grace. I was rooting for Jordan Grace in this one because I do like how she is a powerhouse. I do like that she's very talented. JC Jane, okay, I get it. Her, her whole thing when it comes down to it. Blake Monroe was on the corner of Jordan Grace. I was hoping that, Jordan Grace would take it. Of course, we did see to where they tried to cheat. JC Jane tried to use the belt to hit Jordan Grace with it. And a lot of J's here, T. But it didn't take that much when it comes down to it. And now we know that Blake Monroe has turned on Jordan Grace. I think there's going to be some payback when it comes down to that. I think we're going to see more on the NXT side of things here. But very dope when it comes down to it. I knew there was a snake when it comes down to Blake Monroe. I think I kind of like it. I kind of like how she is now, quote unquote, a heel now. Will she join up with JC Jane and crew? We don't know. But I think now Blake Monroe will start out as a heel, which makes sense because now you got to make it to where you can't have too many faces, right? You got to have a lot of heels when it comes down to the story. Now the story, when it comes down to it, we're going to see more of Blake Monroe versus Jordan Grace. I do like Jordan Grace because I've seen her work in TNA, and to see how well she performed in TNA is quite amazing. Her ability to give us her all excuse me, her ability to be a powerhouse, a muscle house. She could probably whoop me in a match, right? Because she's really that strong and really that swole. But I enjoy when it comes down to her matchup. Uh, kind of didn't win out when it comes down to it, but it's okay. Now we did have the fatal four-way tag team match. It was Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez being the champions versus the Kabuki Warriors, that's Asuka and Kairi Sane, versus Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair versus Zarya and Sol Ruka. I am a big fan of Sol Ruka. I love her style. I love her beachy attitude. I love her outfit was, let me tell you, not trying to be sexist for my women, but Sol Ruka looked fine in her attire last night. She looked fine. Like that's my type, right? It's really good to see Charlotte Flair again in person. Charlotte Flair is one of the queens of women's wrestling, honestly, we got to say it. Although she has not been in the limelight of things as of late, right? We haven't seen her do so much as of late, but I'm sure she is trying to reveal bound back to her ways of wrestling. I do like her outfit, her whole outfit. I do. Charlotte Flair, if you're somehow watching this show, I really love the ponytail look. I think the ponytail look for Charlotte Flair works. I don't like it how if you got your hair all down and you have too much hair in your face and you're trying to wrestle, it looks a sloppy mess. Not saying that she is a sloppy mess, but I just think this ponytail look of Charlotte Flair works. I really do. Charlotte Flair is really tall. I mean, I knew she was tall on TV, but obviously where I was sitting, and you guys can see, you're seeing the footage right now, that Charlotte Flair is very, very tall. In all the right places, right? It's good to see Alexa Bliss live and in person. I'm a big fan of Roxanne Perez. I'm going to joke with her. She's really short in person, right? She's really, really short. Probably taller than me. I mean, look, all these women superstars are better than me, than everybody, right? Well, all the average Joes, because they wrestle. That was a good match. I did like the moves that all the ladies were doing. Charlotte Flair was the winner of that night because she was doing a lot of high fly moves. Let me tell y'all something. Let me tell you something. You see it on TV, sure. But when you see the high fly moves done on TV, or excuse me, live, that's something else. I gotta say, it's something else. It's something else when it comes down to it. Of course, Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez, they continue on their reign, as tag team champions. They ended up retaining their championship belts. There were a chants that says, "We want Charlotte." Let me tell you about that chant, because I was on the other side. I was right next door to it, and to my left there was a chant of "We want Charlotte," and she looking around like, "Oh, they want me in this match." So we ended up seeing that, and it was very fantastic. The next match was Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus. It has always been a dream of ours to see, mine personally, to see Trish Stratus live, right? Obviously, I know from that generation of excuse me, the 1990s down to the early 2000s of Trish Stratus, to see her doing some amazing things when it comes down to it, of course. Tiffany Stratton comes out as well. Tiffy time. I was rooting for Tiffany Stratton, honestly. I'm a big fan of Tiffany Stratton right now. I love her acrobatic moves. She's a gymnast, so she knows what she's doing when it comes down to it. But Trish Stratus, she gave us something. I think this is a testament of Trish Stratus. I don't think this is the end of Trish Stratus right now as her comeback. Excuse me. Simply because Trish Stratus gave us some moves that, I was skeptical about, right? Obviously, Trish Stratus is a veteran in this thing. I'm not saying she's getting old, but she's getting older, right? So there's a lot of things that she used to do back in the day. She's not able to do no more, Jackson, right? NT. So I like that we got to see more impressions and more impressive moves from both ladies. I think Trish Stratus still has some ways to go when it comes down to this journey as her comeback story. I guess this is what you can kind of call it, as a comeback story. Sold, it sold. A lot of chants here. Trish Stratus chants at State Farm. Even I was chanting for Trish live and in person, so it's really, really dope to see her in the ring and perform. Tiffany Stratton, somehow she's able to come back on top. I do like that that we're able to see some really really dope moves for both. Very very amazing. The next match, when Tiffany Stratton retains her championship, heavyweight championship belt. The next match was, I believe it was the Jade Cargill and Naomi, while Bianca Belair was the special guest referee. Let me tell you something, guys. Bianca Belair had a huge pop live and in person last night. I was chanting. Honestly, I was chanting to all three of the ladies because obviously, there's no race about it, but obviously all three of these ladies are black. I like it when I get to see black superstars shine on TV, and boy howdy did they give us a gruesome match. We did see Bianca Belair as a special guest referee, and she was shaking in her boots because you have two friends, Jade Cargill, Naomi, going at it. A lot of moves, a lot of slamming through the tables. There was a lot of holy shit moments, right? And I was one of those people live and in the crowd chanting holy shit moments, right? It's really, really dope to see that. But we were able to see that match commence. Bianca Belair was just shaking in her boots simply because she was the nervous wreck, because you had two of her best friends going toe-to-toe each other. It's good to see that, Jade Cargill, let me tell y'all something. In person with Jade Cargill, very, very swole. She's very, very swole, let me tell you. I've never seen a lady so swole live and in person in all my days. Well, I might be lying because I did see them. I have seen ladies swole in the gym, right? But Jade Cargill, boy howdy. Let me tell you something. It was great to see crazy ass Naomi, and I'm joking. She's not crazy. I'm starting to like her personality. I'm starting to like the craziness that she's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? I like that idea of her proceed with caution. She's dangerous. Right? I sat next to, across from these two young ladies that were obviously Naomi fans. They were shouting and hooting and hollering for Naomi, and how the way our seats were, again, hopefully you guys can take from the B-roll footage that we're showing. But my seat was on the right side of the ring, left side of the stage, where near the barricade, right? Where you can see Stu. Now, if you guys don't know who Stu is the veteran cameraman that works for WWE. I was able to semi-talk to him. I said hello, and, Stu's a celebrity too. Everybody was like, oh my God, is that Stu? That's Stu, ain't it? Yeah, that's Stu. So if you know Stu, the veteran camera cinematographer for WWE. That's how close we were. And to see the craziness of Naomi, seeing her live and in person, she got that little twitch thing going on, but then she got the briefcase. Very, very dope to see. So, and then the next match was the Battle Royale. And let me see if I can get the list of, I might miss somebody. So you had Selena Vega. Let me see if I can get that out real quick, because there was a lot of ladies. There were a lot of ladies in this matchup when it comes down to it. All the ladies for the Battle Royale. Let me see if I can get that pulled up real quick. It's a good thing that we do these things live when it comes down to it. Let me see if I can generate a list here. I don't think I can generate a full list. I'm going to try to do my best. So you had... And comment below if I miss somebody. I probably will miss somebody because there was a lot of ladies in this. You had Selena Vega's in this one. Jaden Parker, hey Miss Parker, she was in this one. Stephanie Vakir was in this one. Nikki Bella, Natalia Maxine Dupree. Gosh, I feel like I'm gonna miss a whole bunch of people. Nia Jax was in this one. Let's see, who else was in this Battle Royale? Julia was in this one. I'm blanking out on more people that was in this Battle Royale match, but it was a great group of ladies that was in this match. Lash Legend. Ooh, I can't believe I almost forgot about her. She was in this one as well. Let's see. Who else is in this match? Who else was in this Battle Royale? Easy Dame was in this one, I believe. I think that's all I can remember that was in this battle royale. But nonetheless, there was a lot of great ladies that were in this battle royale. Um, Seeing a battle royale live is a lot going on. You got to pay attention to everything. Jackson and T and audience, you got to pay attention to everything, because if you're gonna miss it. You're gonna miss a whole lot if you're not paying attention. There was a lot of moments there. I thought Lash Legend was gonna get it. B-Fab was in this match too. I almost forgot about B-Fab. B-Fab was in this match. I'm starting to grow on B-Fab. I think she has so much work to do, but she's very, very talented, and she's able to get a lot of things done. And she's becoming more of a wrestler, more of a superstar, and I love to see that for B-Fab. B-Fab just kind of reminds me of an old college friend that looked just like her back in college that I had a crush on. So I am a big fan of B-Fab. I think she has a lot, again, a lot of work to do. But I'm starting to grow on her. I like her personality. I like the growth of that. Stephanie Vakir does come on top for winning the Battle Royale, which was very, very, very good, because Stephanie Vakir, I'm a big fan of her. I love her. Her language is so cute. When she said, I promise, at the end of the match, of course, she had her speech. Stephanie McMahon has, cheered her on as well. Again, to see Stephanie McMahon in person too, that's so surreal, right? Because I remember seeing Stephanie McMahon when I was a kid, right? But now seeing her live and in person, that's just taboo. It's really good and very, very interesting. But nonetheless, the Battle Royale was really, really good. It's very, very talented. But I can't wait to see what Stephanie Vakir does more within her career. And the main event was Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley. So y'all think it was. Big Rhea Ripley fan. I sat in front of a girl who was a huge Rhea Ripley fan. She had some great seats. And to see a lot of great things when it comes down to these superstars, there was a lot of holy shit moments. A lot of holy shit moments, right? They're in the crowd. Io Sky jumps from one of their production boxes onto Rhea Ripley, down to a lot of great matches. Rhea Ripley, this was a slobber knocker of a match. There was a lot of slapping into the chest area. I cringe not cringe, but I was just like, ooh, I don't know what that feels like, but ooh, I feel it, because it looks like it hurts. But it was just such a great, great draw when it comes down to it. I, for some reason, knew that Naomi was going to pull something. It's Evolution, right? She has the Money in the Bank contract, or she had. Naomi comes out towards the end of the match. The crowd is going wild. The crowd is losing their shit. Naomi comes out, kind of limping, because she suffered a loss with Jade Cargill earlier last night. She cashes it in. It turns into a triple threat match. Naomi now wins the championship belt within the contract cash in. What a way to end Evolution. Really, really dope. Evolution, this pay-per-view, Evolution started in 2018. That was when the last pay-per-view was 2018. To see that WWE has sold out State Farm Arena with myself and my little brother and everybody in attendance, I think they had a big draw with this one. I think they sold really, 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 really well. It kind of shows you that there's a lot of people that are here for women's wrestling, myself included. I do hope we don't have to wait 7 years for the next Evolution. I don't think we will. I think they're going to do this again. Hey, hopefully they come back to Atlanta next year, because people will come back. People will pay a ticket to see that. I don't think this is going to be where we have to wait another 7 years for Evolution, right? They're going to do this thing again because they see it works. You have the talent now. This thing does work. There was a lot of holy shit moments, a lot of chants. Everybody had a ball last night, myself included. I love it when WWE does their big bags like Evolution, because it was very, very good. Bad Blood was actually pretty good too when they had Bad Blood last October. So I look forward to seeing I wouldn't be surprised if Evolution did better than Saturday night's main event this past weekend. I would not be surprised because it was just such a good draw, honestly. But like I say, I hope that Evolution they continue on this train, they continue doing their thing, and I can only wait to see what they do next. Congratulations to WWE, congratulations to Evolution, congratulations to all the ladies that were in attendance or all the ladies that were performing last night because you guys gave Atlanta one hell of a show, and I love it. I'm here for it.
It's 2025 MLB All-Star Home Run Derby Day in Atlanta. Some of the most dynamic home run hitters in baseball will be taking aim at the Truist Park stands on Monday, 8 p.m. ET on ESPN, in one of the most anticipated events of the summer. While the prospect of a back-to-back champion is out of the picture, 2024 winner Teoscar Hernandez is not a part of this year's field. A number of exciting stars will be taking the field, including Atlanta's own Matt Olson, who replaced Ronald Acuna Jr. Just 3 days before the event, will Olson make a run in front of his home crowd? Will Cal Raleigh show off the power that led to 38 home runs in the first half? Or will one of the younger participants take the title? We have your one-stop shop for everything Derby related, from predictions to live updates, once we get underway to analysis and takeaways at the night's end. Around noon every day, K.L.P. John Raleigh. Cal to most, the big dumper, to those who prefer to pay homage to his profound posterior, and the best catcher in the world to everyone, goes to work. The vast majority of baseball players pull up to the stadium between 3 and 4 p.m. for a 7 p.m. game. Raleigh would never. He needs the extra time to study the tendencies of opposing hitters, formulate a game plan for that night's starting pitcher, nurse the incessant ailments inherent to his position in the training room, stay strong in the weight room, hone his left and right-handed swings in the batting cage, and set an example for the rest of the Seattle Mariners. 4 hours every day, Raleigh consumes baseball because baseball consumes him. I really love the game of baseball. I really do, he said. I love the scouting reports. I love catching. I love running the game. I love hitting, obviously. It's a game that you can love so much. And at the same time, when things go wrong, it can be one of the worst things in the world. That's kind of what makes it so great, right? It's July 5th, the day after Raleigh celebrated another home run with fireworks with some teammates in South Lake Union, a mile from Space Needle and 3 miles from T-Mobile Park, where Raleigh has spent 2025 doing things never done by a catcher in 150 years of Major League Baseball. Raleigh's numbers heading into this week's All-Star break elucidate the magnitude of his achievements. 38 home runs, 1.011 OPS, 82 RBIs, all in just 94 games. But it's the names he's chasing that give them gravitas. With 66 games left this season, Raleigh is threatening to break Mickey Mantle's single-season home run record for a switch hitter, 54, and Ken Griffey Jr.'s single-season home run record for a Mariner, 56. He fell one shy of Barry Bonds' record for first-half home runs, 39. At the beginning of the year, it was like, all right, he is off to a great start, said Brian Wu, the Mariners' all-star right-hander and Raleigh's roommate last year. And then he just kept going and it was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And then it was like, holy s, he's going off. And now it's kind of just like, what is going on? Over the last month, I feel like everybody realized it's a historic season. It's not just a really good one or one of the best in the league. It's something that's never been done. At this point, most guys are just kind of looking at each other every time he hits a homer or has a really good game. We don't really know what to make of it. We're kind of just as dumbfounded as all the fans are. Raleigh's emergence as a legitimate threat to what once looked like a runaway American League MVP campaign by New York Yankees star Aaron Judge has thrust Seattle's secret. A switch-hitting, upper-deck hunting, platinum glove-winning, everyday playing, badonkadonk jiggling folk hero into the national spotlight. The latest turn comes Monday night in Atlanta at 8 p.m., when the 28-year-old Raleigh will try to become the first switch hitter and the first catcher to win the home run derby. Todd Raleigh his father, and a longtime college coach, will throw the pitches Raleigh intends to send over the fence. Squatting behind the plate will be his 15-year-old brother, Todd Jr., privy to the best view at Truist Park. That this moment turned into a Raleigh family affair is poetic, if not for his father, for the long legacy of Raleigh's in baseball forged in the unlikeliest of places. The big dumper wouldn't be here. Long before he showed up at T-Mobile Park at noon, Cal Raleigh took a yellow school bus to get his daily baseball fix. He would leave Cullowhee Valley Elementary at 3:10 p.m., ride about a mile to Hennon Stadium, change into a Western Carolina University uniform, and watch his dad work. Todd Raleigh grew up in Swanton, Vermont, where his family was baseball royalty. His oldest brother, John, won 2 state titles at Missisquoi Valley Union High before dying a year after graduation of lymphoma. The middle Raleigh brother, Matt, captured 3 state championships and twice hit more than 30 home runs in a minor league season, topping out at AAA. With a pair of state championships on his resume, Todd wanted to go to Western Carolina, so he hitchhiked down the East Coast, made the team, and thrived. When he returned as a coach, he found a new home. In his firstborn, Todd found a kindred spirit. Cal Raleigh's love of baseball manifested itself relentlessly. At the grocery store, he pantomimed swings in the aisles. At home, he emulated the stances of every Catamounts player. When he was homesick, Raleigh would draw diagrams of uniforms. He gave lineup suggestions to Todd. In a home video taken when he was 8 years old, Raleigh sang, "I'm the home run derby champ. I'm the home run derby champ." Before Raleigh entered 5th grade, Todd's success at Western Carolina earned him the head coaching job at the University of Tennessee, one of the country's premier college programs. In Knoxville, Raleigh encountered the first challenges to his love of the game. He got cut from his middle school team. Todd, who had recruited Mookie Betts to play for the Volunteers only to see him sign with the Boston Red Sox out of high school, got fired after 4 seasons. At Knoxville Catholic, a coach told Raleigh he was a Division III talent. As he fumed, Todd offered him some advice. Get so much better that you can't be told no. The family returned to North Carolina, and Raleigh broke out at Smoky Mountain High. He went to Florida State and was named a freshman All-American. Following a sophomore slump, he thrived as a junior, hitting 13 home runs and walking more than he struck out. Scouts loved his power from both sides of the plate, but worried that at 6'2" and 235 pounds, he wasn't athletic enough to remain at catcher and recommended a move to first base. Raleigh refused. Their eyes were the issue, not his skills. 6 catchers went ahead of him in the 2018 draft. Seattle plucked Raleigh with the 90th pick in the draft, hopeful a third-rounder could evolve into a big leaguer. When Raleigh arrived at Low A Everett that year, Tony Arnrick, the Mariners field coordinator and catching instructor, watched one session of him catching and admitted to being surprised. "You're nothing like what I expected. What everybody said you were." Arnrick said, "Well, what did they say?" Raleigh responded, "They said the sorts of things Raleigh had already spent years repurposing into motivation. He'd been told he wasn't good enough in 6th grade, or high school, or college. He was a switch hitter who, despite almost even splits against right and left-handed pitching, was advised to pick one side to hit from, because if he were intent on catching, the job was too demanding to bifurcate time spent on swinging." Even after Raleigh thrived in his debut season in Seattle's farm system, hit 29 home runs in his second year, and out-hit everyone at the team's minor league alternate site in 2020, he never came close to a top 100 prospect list. In an organization with Julio Rodriguez and Logan Gilbert and George Kirby and Jared Kelenic hoarding all the attention, Raleigh registered as an afterthought. Raleigh joined Gilbert and Kelenic on Seattle's big league roster in July 2021, with Kelenic introducing to the masses the nickname he had given Raleigh in the minor leagues. The big dumper was a big disappointment, unable to muster even a .200 batting average. The 2022 season was worse. Following an April of inconsistent playing time, batting .083/.214/.208, Raleigh was shipped back to AAA. "I wasn't sure that he was going to stick around," Gilbert said, "much less turn into what he is today." Raleigh wasn't sure either. Growing up, He had heard his father talk about the major leagues with reverence. There was low A, high A, double A, and triple A. The big leagues, Todd said, were 8A, exponentially harder than the minors, and they had humbled Raleigh to the point of sulking, something Todd refused to oblige. I was just angry at the world, Raleigh said. I was mad. I was upset. I wasn't playing as much as I would have liked. I wasn't playing well. A lot of complaining. He sat me down and was like, "Hey, you don't realize how lucky you are to be where you're at. You know, this is what you dreamed of your whole life, and you're sitting here complaining about it, and you're not doing anything about it." And it really changed my perspective on a lot of things. I started looking at things through a different lens. It was something I needed that I didn't know I needed. The Mariners gave Raleigh a 48-hour window to report to AAA Tacoma. He showed up a day early, batted third in the lineup, went 0 for 4, called Todd, and said, "I'm never going back down again." Raleigh needed to work on his ability to compartmentalize, Todd told him, not just separating his duties as a catcher from those as a hitter, but his bad days from the chaos they sowed in his mind. Cal is a processor, Todd said. It takes him a couple days to consider something and understand it. Eventually, he comes around. Raleigh saw the wisdom in Todd's advice. He needed to clear his head, so he took walks in the morning, sometimes seeking refuge in nearby churches. He found the swings that had disappeared. He shed the malaise, ditched the attitude, and poured his energy into the work. The early arrivals, the meticulous preparation, the game within the game. Barely a week after Raleigh's demotion, Mariners catcher Tom Murphy separated his left shoulder, prompting Seattle to recall the debugged version of Raleigh. After 5 hitless games that collapsed his batting average to .065, Raleigh hunted a fastball from New York Mets reliever Drew Smith and parked it 435 feet onto the right field concourse at Citi Field, a titanic shot that reminded him of his capabilities. Raleigh homered again 3 days later, and again 5 days after that. He went deep 6 more times in June and was a menace behind the plate, on his way to throwing out an AL best 25 attempted base stealers. "I don't care how touted you are," Todd said. "If there's a crack in your character, a crack in your work ethic, a physical flaw, you're going to get exposed." Raleigh was the one doing the exposing. With Murphy out for the season, he assumed full-time catching duties and racked up 25 home runs as Seattle surged toward its first postseason berth in 21 years, the longest drought in major North American men's professional sports. Out of the lineup on September 30, 2022, a day after catching all 188 pitches of an 11-inning game, he entered in the 9th inning as a pinch hitter. The game was tied 1-1, with a win needed to seal the Mariners' spot in the postseason. Raleigh worked the count against Oakland right-hander Domingo Acevedo full and fouled off the 6th pitch of the at-bat. Fans around the stadium stood, hoping to conjure the halcyon days of Griffey and Edgar Martinez and Randy Johnson, the 3 Hall of Famers who brought an aura to Seattle baseball but never a World Series appearance. Acevedo left a slider over the plate, low and inside. Raleigh loosed his bat. The ball surged into the night, ricocheted off a window of the Hit It Here Cafe in right field, and, for an instant at least, nearly a half-century of Mariners' failures vanished. Of all the consequential hits in Mariners history, Ichiro Suzuki breaking Rogers' Hornsby single-season hit record, Martinez's double that scored Griffey from first in the 1995 Division Series against the Yankees, none landed with the euphoric release of Raleigh's walk-off. It was a bloodletting and a portent. Raleigh wasn't just a part of the Mariners' future. He was a foundational element. He played in 145 games the next year, second most in the league, and hit 30 home runs. Last year, he bumped his homer total to 34 and logged 153 games, a rarely seen figure for a catcher made even more impressive by his predilection to play through injuries. When he hit the walk-off in 2022, Raleigh was playing with a broken left thumb that had a torn ligament. Gilbert saw him play through a burst blood vessel in his eye and an ear gushing blood after getting struck on a backswing. "That's what really does it for me," Gilbert said. "Love the homers, love how you play, all that kind of stuff. When you're banged up and you don't say a word and go out there, I'm like, okay, this guy's a gamer." Every game he's back there, He takes a foul ball. Like, oh, that one looked bad. Okay, it's been like 20 seconds. Maybe he's milking it. You forget about it. And then you go in the training room, and there's a huge black and purple spot on his thigh, or wherever it is, and you're like, okay, he was actually pretending nothing happened, not milking it. I wouldn't be able to walk. Putting Humpty Dumper back together again takes treatment of all manner and variety. Ice, heat, massage, stimulation. One night, Mariners general manager Justin Hollander walked into the training room to see acupuncture needles all over Raleigh's body, as if he were trying to cosplay Pinhead. And the next morning, Hollander said, "There's one person there before everyone, sitting in the cafeteria with a stack of advanced papers, Cal." In the work and the triumph it cultivated, Raleigh had validated his promise never to return to AAA. He didn't just belong. He embodied the big in big leagues. He was turning into something new, more self-assured, more capable, the sort of character onto whom Seattle could latch with no reservation. In Seattle's opening series this year, a between-innings video with Cal Raleigh's deadpan face flashed on the scoreboard. From commercials to vignettes to promotions, no team in baseball does entertainment with as much creative flair as the Mariners. Even for them, this pushed the envelope of absurdity. The premise was simple. Send an email to BigDumper@Mariners.com, and Raleigh will help you dump a problematic person in your life. Tom, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but it's not working with Lindsay. Raleigh said, "Don't worry, though. When one door closes, another one opens. Specifically, a door to a new apartment, because your current lease is in Lindsay's name. Bummer. Even if it was a bit." The Mariners have received real requests at the email address for boyfriends, girlfriends, friends, and others, although not one of them was from Lindsay. It illustrated the full commodification of the Big Dumper persona by the Mariners and the full embrace of it by Raleigh. Baseball had seen the Big Train, Walter Johnson, the Big Hurt, Frank Thomas, the Big Unit, Randy Johnson, and dozens more bigs. Never had one been assigned on account of thickness alone. "It's not the one you write up in your mind when you're thinking of nicknames," Raleigh said. "But I mean, it's true. That's who I am." Raleigh's was the posterior that kept on giving, offering an endless supply of promotions that helped burrow him into the psyche of a wounded fan base. Instead of Raleigh running across the nameplate of replica jerseys, the Mariners sell a No. 29 jersey that says Big Dumper. They made Big Dumper onesies and sold out almost immediately. He filmed a commercial for Big Dumper Trucking, a company that does not exist. "Part of what makes Cal so lovable is he's an everyman," said Jerry Dipoto, the Mariners' president of baseball operations. "He's blue-collar, shows up in his truck, does his job. That's the beauty of him. He's not flashy. He's not boisterous. He's not there to create his own brand. He's been almost embarrassed by all the attention he's received." Connecting with Seattle mattered to Raleigh. Last year, he meandered outside of T-Mobile to a stage where fans were getting their heads shaved by Jay Buhner, the slugging outfielder of the team's 1990s glory days. For 30 years, Buhner Buzz Cut Night entitled people willing to sport Buhner's signature chrome dome look to a T-shirt and free ticket to a Mariners game. Off came Raleigh's locks, courtesy of Buhner. The Mariners sold a calzone at concession stands and replaced it this year with Lil Dumper's soup dumplings. They take advantage of Raleigh's sense of humor. A video of him and Gilbert asking each other questions when hooked up to a polygraph is laced with laugh-out-loud moments, and his trust in them. They once convinced Raleigh that a slow-motion camera was broken, so he needed to move and yell in slow motion. They renamed right field the dump yard for a night. "We thought about calling the people sitting in the section the dumplings," said Greg Green, the Mariners' longtime marketing guru. "But we realized that's probably not a great name for our fans." By the time All-Star voting commenced this year, the Mariners urged fans to be a peach, vote Cal, using a fruit emoji to secure votes. At one point, they put together an all-booty song walk-up playlist, including "Baby Got Back" by Seattle native Sir Mix-a-Lot for Raleigh. He finished with the second most votes in the AL behind Judge. When he walks around Seattle and gets recognized, fans typically don't yell his name. It's almost always Dumper. and as advantageous as an ample derriere can be for baseball players. The lower half of a swing generates power, not the upper half. Its drawbacks occasionally reveal themselves. On the night of the ceremony, in which Raleigh won the Seattle Sports Commission's Men's Sports Star of the Year award in late February, the fly on his suit pants got stuck. He asked the front desk of the hotel in which he was staying for safety pins. They didn't help. A nearby men's warehouse agreed to stay open late to accommodate Raleigh. Finding a pair of off-the-rack pants that fit was a lost cause. Eventually, he settled on a pair of jeans and apologized to the crowd at the event for his lack of formal attire due to a zipper incident. They laughed, and they cheered, and they reminded Raleigh why he had been open to signing a long-term contract with the franchise. The Mariners had approached Raleigh in the 2023-24 offseason about a deal. He demurred. At the winter meetings in December 2024, Dipoto and Hollander broached the topic again and were told to table it until spring training. The team sent a proposal early in the spring. Before he considered it, Raleigh said he needed to learn more about the future of the franchise. The Mariners have arguably the best farm system in baseball, but they consistently rank in the middle of the pack in money spent on players, never carrying a payroll that exceeds $158 million into the season. Following a spring training workout, Raleigh, still in full uniform, met Dipoto and Hollander in a suite at the team's Arizona facility. He wanted to understand more about the Mariners' future, the minor leaguers, the front office's philosophies, how the competition in the AL West projects. He carried a notebook filled with questions and started firing away.
All right, so our last segment here on the Bro Code podcast, the official sports podcast for K.L.P Entertainment. I had to think about it, had to relax my throat a little bit because we talked about evolution. I've been screaming last night at State Farm Arena. Okay, so let's talk about it. Tracking the WNBA. I guess I'm all in the women's segment for today's episode, but hey, I'm here for it. In 2025 WNBA season has had its share of individual performances. I'm just starting off with my notes here. Veteran stars such as Minnesota Lynx, Nahisha Caller, and Los Angeles Aces Ajay Wilson have continued to dazzle so far in 2025's season of the WNBA. Let me tell y'all, if you guys know, you know. If you are a fan of basketball like I am, obviously, the WNBA, I've been saying it for previous Broco podcast episodes, but they have been on the limelight of things when it comes down to viewership, multi-million viewership on of the season alone. That is just the growing of WNBA. And then you also have rookies like the Dallas Wings, Paige Buckers, and the Washington Mystics, Kiki Arifin, has surpassed expectations. That is something you want to see for our WNBA superstars. Just to see them cultivate and to see them strive for excellence into this season and give us one hell of a show, honestly. That is the most important thing. And it just kind of testifies. Again, I've been saying this for Broco Podcast for a long time, but this is testifying that the ladies got something to prove in the WNBA. The ladies got something there that is going to surpass expectations, is going to get us excited for the season to see who's going to take the belt home or the championship trophy home, I might add. Is really good to see. And other states standing out, of course. Let me tell you who is standing out. Atlanta Dreams, shout out to Atlanta. You know, we're housed here in Atlanta. Atlanta Dreams, Alicia Gray, Seattle Storm's Gabby Wilson, and New York Liberty's Kennedy Burke may not always get the headlines here, but they have shown tremendous growth and have been critical to helping their respective teams get off to a strong start. I love to see that again. I also do think the ladies are performing well simply because, you know, there's a lot of money behind this, right? There's a lot of money behind the WNBA, right? A lot of money behind them in Prize Picks and DraftKings, whoever you decide to do your fantasy with. But there's a lot of sponsors that's come out. There's a lot of brand deals that come out. There's a lot of celebrity status, if you will, that comes out when it comes down to the WNBA. And you never know where funding comes from private investors. That way, when your new season contract comes about, you know you're gonna get that contract signing, right? You go for the goal. either multi-million dollar contract for WNBA to maybe $1 million contract with WNBA, maybe less than that. There are some players who are getting paid less than millions to play in the WNBA, but that is their start here. Now, as we are approaching the 2025 campaign, with the All-Star Game approaching around the corner, of course, there has been some highlights for ESPN. Their panel, Kendra Andrews, Kevin Pelton, and Alexa Peladu, and Michael Vipel, they did a shock take on the WNBA awards race and strong sharing picks. I wanted to talk about this because here are the front runners for the Minnesota Lynx, for ESPN's front runner when it comes down to the WNBA awards. Of course, sources are coming from ESPN. They're doing Nafisa Caller from the Minnesota Lynx. Of course, she is leading the WNBA in the scoring of a 23.5 PPG while playing for the league's first place team. There are strong MVP credentials. Add to that Caller's best career shooting. And get this, guys, it was at the shooting percentile of 52.1% from the field and 95.6 from the free throw line. Also, her rebounding of 7.9 RPG, elite defenses, and leadership. Now, she is a runner-up for the MVP honor last season with the Minnesota team, but when they made the WNBA Finals call here, establishing herself as MVP front runner right away and still in that role when it comes down to it. Now, a lot of people are saying that Paige Bueckers from the Dallas Wings might be candidate for Rookie of the Year for the WNBA awards. Of course, Bueckers was out with a conclusion and an illness when her last award check-in dropped. Now, she came out of the gates firing upon returning that 4-game absence. Let me tell you, when you are absent for 4 games and you're going through rehab or you're going through therapy, you're going through recovery, if you will, you come out of the gate swinging. Right, you come out of the gate swinging and you're ready to go. You're ready to get back in there. You're hungry. You're humble. You've been sick for 4 games, right? You've been out for a while. Now you're trained and prepared and ready to go. Now, amongst her first-year peers, of course, the former UConn star is topped in scoring and assists and steals, of course, by widening the lens of the all-starter here as we're getting text messages here in the studio. Top 10 in the league, and in scoring is one of those 4 players alongside with other players here. Very, very good to see that she could be a contender for the runner-up for Rookie of the Year. Now, they're saying here as we continue on for potential here, they're looking at the most improved player of the year potentially. And I like to talk about this because this is Alicia Gray. Alicia Gray plays for the Atlanta Dream. Obviously, you guys know we're here in Atlanta. You know, I got to rep my Atlanta team. I got to. Now, Gray has continued her incredible jump this season, earning an all-star starting nod to become the first Atlanta player to start the midseason showcase since 2008. Now, 6th in the lead in the scoring average of 19.4 points per game. Gray is shooting at a 42.6 percentile in the field. She's also shooting a 41.6 from the 3 line and a 5.9 attempt per game, which are both career highs. In fact, Gray is recording a career highs in almost every statistical category. Now, last month, we highlighted Gray's offense and thrive with Coach Carl Schmitzko's system in his first year with the Dream, and it's still true to this day. After the starting this season on the tier, Gray's production could have tampered off, but it remains just as strong and just as efficient when she plays for the Atlanta Dream. So I am very, very excited for that. I'm very excited for a lot of things to come out. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the 6th player of the year that goes out to Kennedy Burke, New York Liberty. I like to root for my New York teams, and her name's Kennedy. Obviously, that's my name too. I always root for people who have the same name as me. But the biggest threat for Burke's statistic as a front runner when we last checked in on her race and her time within the WNBA, it has been her ascension to the starting lineup. Burke has started the past 3 games as Sandy Bordello has favored smaller units with the absence of Jaquel Jones, bringing her the 6 total starts in 19 games total period with the New York Liberty. Burke has actually been more productive as a reserve. She's averaged a 10 percentile PPG off the bench and a 7.7 PPG as a starter. Now, she's on a hot 3-point shooting as she carries over. Burke is making, and it says here in notes here, Burke is making 48% of 3 shots as a reserve, a 50 percentile in the start, in addition to supplying a key perimeter defense for the New York Liberty team that lost both Thornton and Hamilton from the last year's championship squad. So there's a lot of things. Again, ladies, I say ladies to the WNBA, continue doing your thing, to hear those great statistics and to hear that, you know, WNBA is thriving. T and Jackson, it is quite amazing, and I love to see it. I love to see the growth when it comes down to women's sports, really, but to see that growth is quite amazing. So that's going to wrap it up here on the Bro Code Podcast. We hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode on a Monday night. Again, shout out to WWE's Evolution and shout out to the WNBA on my behalf here and all the sports that's going around right now. We love it. We love to hear it. Thank you guys for staying tuned for the Bro Code Podcast. If you're watching us on Facebook Watch, Spotify Video, or YouTube, we thank you. But if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, again, we thank you for that as well. Share with your friends, families, peers, associates, letting them know that we were live today for another special edition of Bro Code Podcast presented by Our Heart Radio. That's going to wrap it up here on the Bro Code Podcast. T. Jackson, it's always a pleasure to have y'all here in the studio. We'll catch y'all on the next episode of the Bro Code Podcast. Until then, we say so long. Have a great night. Stay swanky. Peace.
Welcome to the Bro Code Podcast. Join Kennedy Lucas, Terry Lester, and Jackson Smith as they break down the biggest plays, share locker room banter, and keep it 100 on sports hot takes. Gear up, cause this is where the real talk begins.